Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Emulators. Here we got a fun and frankly a little bit scary episode for you guys this Friday because recently Nintendo decided to double down and go extra hard on emulation, and they've issued some DMCA notices to Valve as well as GitHub, and that is really tricky because that might mean that emulation in the future could be made illegal. That's not a clickbait sort of sentence there. I'm going to explain the case law and how these things work, but definitely watch this entire video because trust me, it goes into great detail on a lot of technical topics, and it's going to be very important for the future of gaming as we know it. But in the last week, Nintendo hit Valve with a DMCA takedown notice. Valve, not the makers of the Dolphin emulator, and that is because the Dolphin emulator devs are going to be releasing a version of Dolphin that would be available on the Steam store itself. Now, I have in previous videos shown you guys that it is very easy to get emulators up and running on your Steam Deck, and you can even play GameCube and Wii games today. It's just not via the Steam store itself. And this seems to be the big issue. It seems like the developers of Dolphin maybe flew a little bit too close to the sun and brought a little bit too much attention to themselves. Because if you want to play GameCube or Wii games right now on your Steam Deck, you can 100% do it. If you want to play GameCube or Wii games on your computer right now, you can 100% do it. So this has existed for a very long time, but it has just recently caught Nintendo's attention, and that's probably not even true. I'm sure they've known about it for a very long time, but something has stepped over a line in the sand that Nintendo knows about and we don't, and they now want to actively challenge it. But let's talk about the emulation in the first place. Something like Prime Hack based on Dolphin runs on your Steam Deck right now, and that is basically achieving the same thing that Nintendo would do secondarily with Metroid Prime Remaster. It's basically the exact same experience in just different packages. But here's the thing, if you own a copy of Metroid Prime and you own the hardware to run it on, you can legally emulate that game on whatever emulator you want. You can play Metroid Prime Remaster on the Switch, you could play Metroid Prime Remaster on the Steam Deck via Switch emulation, or you could play Prime Hack via the original Metroid Prime executable on your Steam Deck. So long as you own the game and you own the hardware, you're fine. Now here's the thing, cryptographic keys. You're going to be hearing that a lot in this video. Basically, every modern console has a set of keys, and that allows software to run on the hardware. Non-target software will not run because it is not signed to be able to do so. And after jamming a set of keys on my Wii U DVD-ROM drive, this is basically a metaphor for how these games are unlocked, decrypted, and allowed to run on your hardware. And you will see here that the Dolphin emulator does ship with those cryptographic keys, so you can execute software within the emulator itself, the common key. There are more than one key sometimes for platforms. It's not really relevant how many there are. Nintendo's arguing that sharing these keys in and of itself is the copyright violation under DMCA. It is definitely in the source code, and I put this meme on top because I don't really feel like publishing it online, even though I do think, at least to the best of my knowledge, that it should be a legally permissible activity. But these keys are at the heart of this case right now. They're saying that the key is copyright and distributing it is not legal whatsoever. But the thing is, no one's really quite sure. But Nintendo has a long history of copyright protection, and that is perfectly fine. They can do whatever they want with their games, with their hardware, when it comes to trying to protect them. So far, so going back to something like the Famicom disk system here with The Legend of Zelda, there is no encryption as far as a cryptographic key or any sort of software signing. This physically has grooves in the Nintendo logo. Some letters you will see are depressed further than others, and if that molding is not correct, then it is not going to work in your Famicom disk system. So it's not like Nintendo has been just recently thinking about protecting their games. This has been going on for the longest time, and it's not surprising at all. They make a product, they want to protect it. I have absolutely no issue with that whatsoever. Something like my Sharp Twin Famicom here, if I own a copy of Super Mario USA and I own the hardware to run it, I can emulate a ROM. That's perfectly fine, I have the right to do so. If I want to run a Famicom disk system game on my Sharp Twin Famicom, hey, I own them both, that's totally fine, do whatever you would like. But now Nintendo is trying to claim that some things may not be permissible, and that is a scary situation because you can emulate Famicom disk system on a Sharp Twin Famicom, and that is because it's not dealing with any sort of cryptographic key whatsoever. But Nintendo's trying to make the claim that the key is protected work and that by using it, it is creating an illegal situation. And it'll say here, while emulation is perfectly legal, providing users with ways to bypass protections on individual game ROMs could potentially violate Nintendo's intellectual property rights. That is a potential. We do not know yet, but that pending decision, if it so goes to a court case, could have huge ramifications for emulation in general. Because take a look here at Super Mario Galaxy, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Because all 3D All-Stars is re-releasing old Nintendo games that are upscaled and look a little bit prettier. But if you own the games and you own the hardware they run on, then you can use emulation right now and achieve the exact same thing without having to buy the game a second time. And something like Bomberman Hero here, one of my favorite Nintendo 64 games of all time, I absolutely love it. It just plays better via emulation because the graphics look better and I don't need to mod my Nintendo 64. But I own the game, I own the hardware, and it is perfectly fine. This is about money. Nintendo wants you to buy games multiple times so they can continue their revenue source. It is as simple as that. They want you to double dip on their products. They want the money twice, 3 times, 4 times, as many times as they can get you to pay. Anything that interrupts that process, they just don't like it. But if they don't like something, can they make it illegal? And that's where this gets tricky. It is the golden rule. He who has the gold sets the rules. Nintendo would like emulation to be illegal so they can protect their revenue stream, even if they're trying to force an illegality on something that is currently permissible. Because you can go on Steam right now and download RetroArch and get the PPSSPP emulator for PlayStation Portable. This has already been done. And you can go on the Dolphin emulator website, and it does know that I need to reorder dog food. Thank you for reminding me, Amazon. And you can download Dolphin right now and run it on Windows, run it on Mac, run it on your Steam Deck. Totally fine. And that is what I'm showing you right now, but I'm being so careful because Nintendo is so touchy. I am showing you the game and hardware that it can play on side by side in this shop, because that is a legally protected activity no matter what Nintendo would like it to be at this point in time. But that's the thing, if they can get the law to change, it could become illegal. They are saying that emulators can run illegal copies of games. Just because something is illegal doesn't mean everything is illegal. That, my friends, is horseshit. If you own the game, if you own the hardware and you want to emulate it, you are legally within your rights to do so. But Nintendo is in a bad mood because there were leaks for Tears of the Kingdom, and I understand. A lot of developers spend a lot of time making these games, there's a lot of money involved, and I don't like it when these games leak and are shown before they launch. I don't want to be teased and spoiled with information. I want to buy the game and support the company. But that's the thing when these things happen. Nintendo's got an itchy trigger finger and they are aiming it at the Dolphin emulator and Valve right now. But who knows what could happen next. But they're talking about this particular code in DMCA 1201, and that's the circumvention of copyright protection systems. And this is where the law gets exceedingly tricky and actually doubles back on itself. But if you read a lot of law, you're going to find out that that is not uncommon at all, some weird language. Because to circumvent a technological measure means to gain access to the work. What this is saying is don't do it. Don't circumvent the measures in place to protect the work. But the other thing is we're talking about to gain access to the work. What does to gain access mean? And that is where case precedent really doesn't have much. I have purchased these games. Does that mean I've gained access to them? Yes, it does. Right now at least, but that could change at any point in time. Buy it, you've gained access. This is talking about circumventing technological measures to use something that you do not own. But you'll see here in the reverse engineering paraphrasing of this, you were able to circumvent a technological measure to allow you to play software that you currently own. And that is where this kind of hinges on. So the question is distributing these keys illegal or not? Currently, it doesn't seem to be so, but if Nintendo brings a court case, gets in front of the right judges, and spends an inordinate amount of money, this could be reversed or be found to be illegal, and that would kill a lot of things, including getting the keys for your own hardware. Because right now, some software is not available on GitHub, and all this does is allow you to take your Switch that you own, that you're allowed to modify and do whatever you would like so long as you have purchased it, and it prevents you from doing so, and that's the scary thing. And it's not like there haven't been emulation court cases before. Bleem, PlayStation, Sony, these have all been set case law that I talked about in my previous video, but it seems like Nintendo's getting a little bit tested here. They are not happy about the potential of having a Wii and GameCube emulator available on Valve's store, and they think that it's going to take away from sales of their new games. Now, if you want to emulate games that you already own and you want to improve them via emulation, currently that's perfectly legal, and yes, Nintendo may have the right idea that this will prevent a certain percentage of sales, but that is well within your legal rights right now to be able to do so. Yet Nintendo is just on a tear. They are trying to change case law, and if this does go to a court case, expect there to be a lot of precedent set. And my biggest concern is that Nintendo will spend as much money as they possibly can to protect that revenue stream in the future. At some point in time, emulation, as it's legal now, could be made illegal. And remember, the judges that could decide cases like this are not technologically advanced. Some of them were probably alive when the Steam engine was the newest technology on the block. Jokes aside, that's the scary thing about these things. They get decided by people who pretty much have no idea what they're talking about whatsoever. But leave me a comment down below. Tell me, should we be scared for emulation? Do you think I'm overstating it? Don't want to sound too clickbaity, but I really do think maybe by 2024, 2025, we will see a case in court on this exact topic. Short of that, hope you enjoyed the video. Have a great weekend, and remember, emulation is legal for now, and you should do it if you can. Bye-bye.